You have reached Red Steele's Toy Collector Review. I'm your man, Red Steele, and today I'll be reviewing from Transformers Age of the Prime Vortex. Transformers Age of the Primes Vortex. But before I get to the actual review, I just want to go over some of the awesome details on this packaging up front here. We're going to show you what the figure and all its accessories inside. In the top corner here it says, more than meets the eye. Below that you have the Autobot symbol. Down here you have 1 of 5 Bruticus. And over here you have 19 steps to transform him. On the very bottom here you have 8+, which is an age requirement for this figure. The other side of the packaging, you have two beautiful illustrations of Vortex, both in his robot mode and in his helicopter mode. Across the middle here, you have Transformers Age of the Primes. In the corner, you have Combaticon Vortex. In the other corner here, you have the Hasbro emblem. Then top of the packaging here, again, it says Combaticon Vortex. And in this corner, this time, you have the Takara Tommy logo. Then on the side of the packaging here, on the very top, it says 1 of 5 Bruticus. Collect to combine. In the middle you have a beautiful illustration of Bruticus, and down here you have Transformers Age of the Primes. And at the very bottom here you have Combaticon Vortex. The other side of the packaging here, on the very top it says, till all are one. In the middle here you have a beautiful picture of some of the Primes. And on the bottom here again you have Transformers Age of the Primes. And on the very bottom here it says it is a deluxe class figure. Then on the back of the packaging here, in the top corner here it says Combaticon Vortex. In the other corner here it says 1 of 5 Bruticus. Collect to combine. In the middle you have all the figure's features such as Vortex in his robot mode, Vortex in the helicopter mode, and over here it says it takes 19 steps to get there. Then over here you have the more than meets the eye authentic logo, and in the corner here you have the Hasbro emblem. Transformers Age of the Primes Deluxe Class Combaticon Vortex. Vortex was released August 2025 with the suggested retail price of $24.99 and is available at all major retailers. Vortex was released along with the other Transformers Age of the Primes Deluxe Class Wave 2 figures, Crasher and Alchemist Prime. Vortex is a G1 inspired figure that converts to his helicopter mode in 19 steps. His accessories include 3 blasters and instructions. Vortex stands 5.5 inches tall and he is meant for fans ages 8 and up. Now I'm going to go ahead and convert Vortex from his robot mode all the way to his helicopter mode. But the first thing you always want to do before you transform any of your Transformers, you want to remove all their weapons and accessories. I'm going to take Vortex's blaster here. I'm going to put this off to the side. I'm going to do the same for these little arm blasters too. I'm going to take these out. I'm going to put both these off to the side too. This is the first step of the transformation. You want to take Vortex, you want to turn him all the way around. You have this copter blade right here. This copter blade is pegged to his backpack. You want to take that copter blade, unpeg it, and put that off to the side also. So step number 2, you want to turn Vortex all the way around. We have Vortex's head here. You want to take his head, you want to turn it all the way around, just like that. So step number 3, inside Vortex's backpack right here, you have this piece. You want to take this piece, you want to flip it out, you want to flip it over his face just like that. So step number 4, you have this landing gear in the back of his head right here. You want to take that landing gear, you want to bring it down just like that. So step number 5, you want to turn Vortex around again. You have this backpack piece right here. You want to take that backpack piece, you want to turn it sideways just like that. Step number 6, you want to take Vortex now, you want to flip him over. You have Vortex's feet right here. You have his toe and his heel right here. In the middle of that you have a hinge joint. You want to take the heel now, you want to flip it up just like that. You want to take the toe and flip it down towards the heel just like that. Going to take that heel, flip it up and the toe down just like that. Step number 7. You have these panels in front of Vortex's legs right here. And bottom of that panel you have a hinge joint right there and right there. You want to take these panels now, you want to flip them down just like that. do that to the other side of that panel and flip it down just like that. So step number 8, you want to take Vortex's legs here. You want to tap them together because in the middle here you have a peg, in the middle here you have a porthole. And you want to go ahead and bring them together and tap them into place just like that. But step number 9, you want to go and collapse this top portion into Vortex's legs. And you do that with a double jointed hinge nut right at the bottom of the thigh. So you take the thigh now and you collapse it right into the leg just like that. Then step number 10, you do these panels in the front here and you close them up just like that. Step number 11, you want to take Vortex now, and you have this backpack piece right here. You want this backpack piece, you want to rotate it clockwise, just like that. So step number 12, you have Vortex's arms right there and right there. You have a hinge nut right there and right there. You want these arm pieces, you want to swing them out just like that. And do it to the other side, you want to take that arm piece, and you want to swing it out just like that. So step number 13, you want these arm pieces now, you want to rotate them up just like that. Do that to your side to the arm piece and rotate it up just like that. So step number 14, you have these boosters on his shoulders right there and right there. You want to these boosters, you want to rotate it up just like that. Do that to the other side to that booster and rotate it up just like that. So step number 15, on the back of Vortex's arms, you have these panels right there and right there. You want these panels, you want to push the arm into the panel just like that. Do that to your side to the arm and push it right into that panel just like that. So step number 16, on the right arm here, there's copter tail. You have a hinge nut right there. I want to flip that copter tail out just like that. This is step number 17. You have these arm pieces right there. You have a hinge nut right there and right there. I want to take these arm pieces, you want to rotate them in so they go under this piece just like that. In the middle of these arms, you have these portholes right there and you have tabs right there. You want to make sure everything kind of works into place and tabs right into place also, so everything meets right in the middle and neatly tabs right into place just like that. So step number 18, on the back of the tail right here is fin right here. You want to take that fin and flip it counterclockwise just like that. Because in the 19th and final step, you want to grab Vortex's blade right here. In the middle of this blade right here, you have a peg, and in the middle of his backpack you have a porthole. We're going to peg that copter blade right into place just like that. And now you have Vortex in this full helicopter mode. Now that Vortex in his helicopter mode, and on my display table, I just want to go over some of his play features and accessories. First, I talk about his blasters. And he comes with 2 of these smaller blasters, and according to the instructors, we're going to arm Vortex with these blasters while he's in his helicopter mode. Next on the side of the blaster here towards the back, you have a little tab right there. On the side of his helicopter here, you have a porthole right there and right there, right there and right there. According to the instructions, you want to take these blasters and you want to plug it into the side of the porthole, but you want to make sure the barrel's facing forward and the handle's facing up. Take the other blasters, same thing, you want to take the handle facing up, but you want the barrel facing towards the back for some reason. And now you have Vortex armed with both of his smaller blasters while he's in his helicopter mode. So the next accessory I want to bring in is his larger blaster. And also according to the instructions, we're going to arm this blaster on Vortex while he's in helicopter mode, and you do a similar fashion. Towards the back of that blaster here, you have a little tab on the side right there and right there. You want to take that blaster, and for some reason you want the barrel facing back and the handle facing up. You want to plug that tab right into the side of the helicopter just like that, and now you have Vortex armed with all of his blasters while he's in his helicopter mode. But normally I'm not a big fan of arming my Transformers while they're in their alt mode. And an alt mode is anything that's not the robot mode. So this is a vehicle mode, an animal mode, in this case a helicopter mode. But the way that instructions have you arm Vortex is very baffling because you have the larger blaster on one side facing away, where you get the barrel facing back. You get the twin blasters on one side facing either direction. Well, this is not very faithful to the animated model and Generation 1 toy because the Generation 1 toy and animated model had the twin blasters mounted on the tail here, and the main blaster was mounted on a nose cone. So I'm going to take all these blasters off, and I'm going to take the 2 smaller blasters here, because on the bottom of each one of these blasters here, you have a 5mm peg, which is actually the handle of the blaster. Well, on the tail fin right here, you have a 5mm porthole right there, and right there. You want to take these blasters with the barrel facing forward and plug it right into the side just like that. Do that to the other side of that blaster, plug it right into the porthole just like that, and now you have Vortex armed with both of his blasters while he's in his helicopter mode. Now you want to go and grab the larger blaster. Unfortunately, with the Generation 1 toy, you're able to mount it right into the nose cone, but there's no means of doing that. And the anime model from the Generation 1 cartoon series has the blaster mounted underneath its nose cone, which you kind of could do if you mount it sideways with the little peg just like that. Or you could take it with the handle right here, the 5mm peg, 5mm portholes right there. You want to plug it right into the bottom of the helicopter, and you have them armed either way. But the challenge you pose here is when you want to display your helicopter with the blaster, it kind of props it up a little bit, so it doesn't lay flush anymore. So the best option is to arm it with the little tab on the side here, and you got a porthole right here. You want to plug it right into the side just like that, and now you have Vortex armed with all of his blasters while he's in his helicopter mode. And this makes more sense to me because it's more faithful to the animated model, plus why would you have side-mounted cannons facing back? It just makes no sense. So this is probably the most reasonable way, or the way that makes the most sense, arming Vortex while he's in his helicopter mode. And it's very faithful to what you would see in a cartoon series and the Generation 1 toy, which I do have on hand, do a side-by-side comparison. Unfortunately, I didn't bring out Vortex's accessories, but as you can see, he's got the 4 blades here. And you get the tail fin right here, it kind of spins. It's pretty cool. And for some reason my Vortex is colliding, and maybe I just had to turn it around just like that. Maybe I have mistransformed. But side by side, you see a lot of design elements from the anime series and the Generation 1 toy. Because with the animated model, he had more of a rounder look. And what I think they did was they took design elements from both the animated model and from the Generation 1 toy and kind of made it one hybrid and pumped out this cool figure right here. Because as you can see the twin turbines right here, or these turbo thrusters right here, which is actually part of the animated model. And you got that twin blasters in the back here. You got this here. You got that blue stripe, which wasn't in the toy. But I think what they did was they, instead of taking this little greenish blue plastic here, or whatever it's supposed to be, and they just turned to a stripe, which was a smart design element. I mean, you get the black windows here. In the original Generation 1 toy, you didn't have all the windows painted, which you do have here. Very, very cool. And if you are a fan of Combiner Wars, I do have that on hand, do a side-by-side comparison so you can see the different generations of Vortex. And this version of Vortex is more of a modern take where they modernized his helicopter to kind of look like what it looked like around the time Combiner Wars came out, where more of the military hardware is more modernized. And, you know, then this is what a helicopter would look like around, you know, the early 2000s, 2010s, around the time that Combiner Wars came out. And as you can see, get the missiles mounted here. Very, very cool looking rendition of Vortex. You know, and what Combiner Wars did was they took the alt modes and they modernized them, but they kind of stayed more faithful to the anime model for the robot modes, and that's what they kind of pulled off with Vortex also. Very, very cool. I want to go and take my Generation 1 version of Vortex and my Combiner Wars and put them off to the side, because I want to go ahead and talk about Vortex. But Vortex is a fantastic helicopter mode nonetheless. Maybe he's not completely faithful to the anime model from the Generation cartoon series, which a lot of us Generation 1 fans clamored for, but still, you know, if you're a Generation 1 toy enthusiast also, this is very faithful, and it's probably the best rendition of Vortex I've seen ever, and he has become my definitive version of Vortex. Very, very nicely done. As you can see, there's a lot of great paint detail. The windows here are very glossy. It kind of gives you that texture where it looks like an actual windshield or window right here. You got like a little metallic frame around the windows here, and it's painted on that metallic silver paint where if you shine to certain angles of the light, you have that dull metallic luster. You got that same paint right here with the copter blade. You got the 4 blades here, and they all spin nicely. You got the tail here where it spins also. Just a nicely done figure, beautifully done. And Vortex was a very big surprise because you know, when they announced that they were going to do the aerial bots for Age of the Primes, that was huge. But we figured that they were going to stretch that across like they did with Legacy for Menasor, where not all the Stunticons came out in one wave or one series. They kind of got stretched out over a couple series. And so we assumed that maybe with this next trilogy, Superion was going to be the combiner. But with Studio Series pumping out the Constructicons and Devastator already, and now you're getting the first Combaticon that was in the first part of Age of the Primes, and they already announced Brawl for San Diego Comic-Con, and they actually have the prototype made. And maybe they have the actual figure made. I hear he's rumored to be out for either Wave 3 or 4. And I've not seen any renditions of Onslaught, Blastoff, or Swindle yet, which Swindle is my favorite Combaticon, so I can't wait till that one comes out. So I'm not really going to get too much into Bruticus because he is the first part of Bruticus to come out so far, but he does combine to Motormaster and Silverbolt to form the limb because he does split apart. So he does have that capability of combining with, or if you want to do a whole Scramble City thing, you can put him on one of the other combiners as of right now. But there's no prototype of Onslaught that I've seen as of yet, so I don't know what Onslaught's going to look like or what Bruticus is going to look like. But according to the instructions, he is one of the 5 parts of Bruticus so far. Now that Vortex in his robot mode and on my display table, I once again want to go over some of his plate features and accessories, first by talking about his blasters. And like I mentioned earlier on, he comes with 2 of these smaller blasters, and according to the instructors, we're going to arm Vortex with these blasters while he's in his robot mode. And he's on the bottom of the blaster, the handle here is actually a 5mm peg. On the side of his forearms, he's got a porthole right there and right there. We want to take these blasters now and plug them right into his forearm, just like that. Go and do that to the side of that blaster and plug it right into his other forearm, just like that. And now you have Vortex armed with both of his smaller blasters. So the next accessory I'm bringing in is his larger blaster. And according to the instructors, we'll arm Vortex with this blaster while he's in his robot mode. The handle of the blaster here is actually a 5mm peg. On the inside of both of his fists, he has a 5mm porthole. Once you take that blaster and plug in either one of his fists, and now you have Vortex armed with all of his blasters while he's in his robot mode. And also, there's another option to arm Vortex, and that's with this copter blade. Once you get that copter blade, you want to unpeg it from his backpack just like that. You want to go and take Vortex, take his arm, you want to bend him at the elbow, and you get that panel right in the back of his forearm. At the bottom of that panel, you have a little porthole right there, and they say go and plug the copter blade right into that porthole just like that. And now you have Vortex armed with his copter blade while he's in his robot mode. And this kind of gives him more of a GoBot Copter vibe. If you know who that is, it's a robot from the GoBot series where he was a helicopter that had a copter blade as a weapon. Where I do feel maybe possibly down the road they'll do a retooling of Vortex to make a Copter figure. Because they did do that with Crasher from Mirage. They took Mirage, they retooled them to become Crasher, and Crasher was another GoBot. And I have a feeling that we're going to see an appearance of a lot more GoBots in the coming future. We're going to plug that copter blade on the back of Vortex because Vortex did not arm his copter blade in any way in his robot mode. And I do really think it's cool that they went ahead and they mounted those blasters on his forearms like he did for the Generation 1 cartoon series, and he's got that blaster. So this figure is very faithful to the anime model from the Generation cartoon series. I do love that they did the color scheme, and he looks just like he just jumped off the TV screen. He's very, very faithful. Very, very nicely done. And a lot of us Generation 1 fans that grew up with Transformers, we love the fact that now they're producing figures that look like the figures that we saw from the cartoon series. Because, as you all know, with Generation 1 toys, we had to use a lot of our imagination to imagine those figures that we saw on the TV screens. But I do have my Generation 1 Vortex in his robot mode here. Kind of show you that. And a lot of design elements that carry through, and I mean, out of all the combiners that came out for Generation 1, I think the closest to having any resemblance to the TV or the cartoon version of their respective figures is probably the Combaticons, because Vortex here looks pretty similar. You can see a lot of the elements carried over. I mean, the color scheme did not. I mean, with the way he transforms is kind of similar. You got the feet that kind of flip out. You got the arms as part of the tail, and you got the copter blade in the back here. But he's a very, very cool figure, and as you can see, he's kind of a small figure. And with the original Generation 1 combiners, with the leader or the torso of the figure was much larger than the limbs. And with the new advancements of engineering, they're able to make the scaling a little more consistent, where the leaders are just slightly taller than the other figures, because what they did was they made a certain part of the combiner as an additional part of the vehicle mode for the respective leader. Like so far we've seen Motormaster, where he had the trailer that became parts of Menasor. Then we saw Superion with that additional turbo boost, or that turbo thruster that became parts of Superion. And we don't know what they're going to do with Onslaught yet, because I've not seen any rendering of the Onslaught yet. I have seen Brawl, like I mentioned earlier on. His prototype debuted at the San Diego Comic-Con, but we're yet to see the other 3 parts of Bruticus, which I'm very excited for. But you know, that'll probably come spread across this recent trilogy. But I'm gonna go ahead and bring in my Combiner Wars version of Vortex here. And they kind of did a different take on Vortex too, which is very, very different compared to the other Combiner War figures. Because what they did with the Stunticons was they kept the robot modes very faithful to the animated model from the Generation cartoon series, but they took the vehicle mode and made it more modern. And that's what they did with this figure. But this figure's color scheme is even different. And I'm very surprised they even did a Vortex at all, because with Blast Off, they just did a Blast Off that was a little strange, and you had to acquire Blast Off as an exclusive through the Hasbro website at the time. But this Vortex, for me, has become my definitive Vortex, because he's the closest representation to the anime model from the Generation 1 cartoon series, which, like I mentioned many times before, us Generation 1 fans clamor for that, because that's what we strive for, and that's why we got into the Masterpiece, and that's why we're glad that we have an affordable version of that sort of figure with the main line, with the Generations toy line, which is now Age of the Primes. I'm going to go ahead and pull this version of Vortex, put them off to the side, and I'm going to do that with Combiner Wars also, because I want to go over the detail on the robot movies. It's fantastic. I mean, if you look at them really closely, you can see like there's lots of points of articulation. I do love the fact that they went ahead and they did the mounted cannons on the forearms here, and you got the blaster in the hand here. And the grade that they use for Swindle kind of has like a metallic look to it almost, where it has that luster to it when you shine certain angles of the light. It's very nicely done. I love the head sculpt here is just fantastic. And that red visor here is nice. And they kind of kept the color scheme more in correlation with the anime series. You get the Septicon symbol on the shoulder here. You got the thrusters on the shoulders here, which wasn't on the actual Generation 1 toy, but was part of the animated model for the Generation cartoon series. Very, very nicely done figure. I mean, Vortex was a pleasant surprise. He was announced and came out shortly afterwards. I did not believe that they were going to release him in the first leg of this new trilogy, especially in Wave 2 already. And Brawl was going to already announced for that same respective series, either in Wave 3 or 4. The likelihood of Onslaught coming out is very small, because they already have a commander class for Age of the Primes, which was Silverbolt. So I'm guessing maybe the second leg of that trilogy will have the commander class as Onslaught. But if you guys found any of the information in this review valuable, please like and share this video. Also, if you really enjoy my content, please subscribe to my channel, and while you're there, click the bell to be notified of any future videos. I want to thank you guys for watching Red Steele's Awesome Toy Collector Review. I'll check you guys out next time.